It's not the Final Fantasy, but Square Enix needs to make a lot of changes. This is a cow's opinion. Moo, 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 moo. Yeah, we're never doing that again. Not doing that again. Guys, today, Chris Scullion, one of our favorites over at Video Games Chronicle, had a nice little update about something we've been talking about, which is Square Enix has not been happy with how a lot of their AAA super expensive titles have been coming out. And today, it was reported that they did not meet their internal targets on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XVI, and Foam Stars. So, Bloomberg's Takashi Mochizuki has stated that Square Enix president Takashi Kiryu told the analysts that sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy XVI, and Foam Stars all fell short of expected revenue and profit. These are their big releases that they've done in the past year, guys. This is not good. Now, Square Enix is not going bankrupt. I don't want you guys to panic or think, oh, he's just rumor. I'm not saying anything like that. But it's never good when the 3 titles you expect within a year's time to punch huge fall short of expectations. Now, because of this, they're only going to earn $255 million, which is 40 billion yen, instead of what they estimated, which was 57 billion or 364. $100 million is a lot. The fact that it's approaching a third of their total revenue expected, though, is just gone. That's terrible. Now, the president has said that sales of all their games fell short of expectations. Now, 16, when it was released, it did as well as they thought it would. It's like, yeah, it's selling great. It's getting lots of progress. But unfortunately, the momentum, which is, after a week or two, as word of mouth and other people who may have been on the fence will usually buy or try a game. Unfortunately, that didn't happen this time. 16 just fell off, and it did not reach the total goal for the financial year. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Foam Stars, which, by the way, do you even remember Foam Stars? It's literally Square Enix's version of freaking... What the hell is that stupid Nintendo shooter? Splatoon, thank you. Dumbass. Thanks, Brain. You got it, buddy. I got you. Thanks to that, it was their version of Splatoon, except instead of paint, they were using foam. And it looked alright. I mean, it had nicer graphics, but really, I think anyone who wants to play that kind of competitive thing was already playing Splatoon. So, The publisher had been confident that 16 would be able to achieve its goal over its 18-month plan, but just because 7 Rebirth and Foam Stars weren't as much as expected, that didn't mean they were bad. And again, I want to stress this, I'm not saying terrible. I'm not saying, Square Enix is going bankrupt. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they didn't hit the top. They were hoping for really big hits, and they're doing okay. They're not having the momentum, they're not having the longevity that an RPG or a party game like Foam Stars usually would have. Now, part of the reason could be that all 3 games were PS5 exclusive. And it could be argued that had they been released on Xbox, Square could have had extra income. Not to mention, the PC versions of these games is massively delayed because Sony requires them to be massively delayed as part of the... And look, Square Enix gets, advantages too. But this is why I'm talking about this article, because the company on Monday said that it would do a new medium-term business plan. Its AAA games are going multi-platform. The plan, which, by the way, has kind of an awesome... Square Enix Reboots And Awakens is a 3-year strategy that they're going to do for long-term growth. They're going to try this, they're going to see if it... By the way, the fact that they named the plan that, like an RPG title, is kind of amazing to me. But one of the 4 pillars of this plan, which is strengthening customer contact points, it's a fancy way of saying we're going to sell on more platforms, is the multi-platform strategy. And they're going to pursue that on Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and PCs. So what is the cow's opinion? This is necessary. Guys, we've been talking so much about the fact that the game industry overinvested, overraised funds, and overpromised, and now a bunch of hardworking developers are getting fired. You cannot limit your sales by saying, I'm just only going to sell on Sony. I don't care if Sony has the most consoles out. Switch is huge. PC gaming is huge. Xbox, still pretty big. Xbox is a whole other video, guys. There's a reason why this podcast says Xbox needs to stop talking Star Trek. They do a lot of this. I'm making the little talkie-talk symbol with my hand. But they ain't delivering. But just like that, even a company like Square Enix, with its Final Fantasy pedigree, is not hitting their internal hopes and dreams. Because they're not selling everywhere. I understand that Sony exclusives about year and a half later are coming up. Water break. Refreshment. They come on Steam about 12 or longer months later. But guys, that's just not good enough. Are you really going to wait a year or longer to play Final Fantasy if you really want to play Final Fantasy? I know what Sony's doing. They really want it to freaking, make you buy a PS5. And I'm not going to say it's not a strategy I don't understand. But the fact that Square Enix and other publishers do this when they're not first-party studios just boggles my mind. Now, this means that games are going to look a little different. Because if you want to sell on all four majors, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC, you obviously cannot have it perfectly. It looks gorgeous, by the way. I mean, Final Fantasy 16 is a great looking game. And part of the reason it looks so good is because it's a PS5 exclusive. You don't have to worry about making it for other platforms or make it on a huge variety of PCs with a bunch of different specs. That's just not what we're going to get anymore, guys. These games need to be multi-platform. Gives me a little hope that the Dragon Warrior... I made a little sneeze. The Dragon Warrior 3 remake is still on track after they've canceled some games but haven't announced what they canceled. Because that is multi-platform, and they do want that to be played as many places as they can get. Look, Square Enix does need to reboot. They do need to awaken. They need to get this done. The market is too much on a downswing to limit your money. And so hopefully this will help. It's a medium-term strategy, like they said. They're going to do it over the next 3 years. 3-year strategy. And they're going to see if it helps. So let me know in the comments below, guys. Did you have to wait to play any of these games? By the way, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second of the trilogy. The first one sold very well, but the second one, it came out years later. These games are very long. I mean, it's really hard to do this, to make you wait years and years between games. And Foam Stars, did anyone even remember Foam Stars until I said it on this thing? It came out back in February. I've never seen, and I'm always on YouTube, I've never seen anybody play Foam Stars. I'm sure I can find them. I'm just saying the fact that it never appeared and that nobody ever in my algorithm came up saying, I'm playing Foam Stars, that's bad for the game. It tells me that it really got passed over. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Did you play any of these three games? If you played Foam Stars, I'm going to just freak out. Go, ah! But no, let me know what you played. Let me know if you had to wait to play 16 or Rebirth because you don't have a PS5. Let me know if you think this will work. I think this is a good strategy. I think that this is what Square Enix needs. Reboots and Awakens is an apt name. It's a cool name for a plan. It's also apt. They have to do this, guys. There's going to be some Sony fanboys in the comments, possibly. No, they need to stop whining. Guys, they're telling you, unfortunately, we ain't selling copies. So we have to do this. You gotta, if I'm making sandwiches, I don't care who buys the sandwich. I just want to sell as many sandwiches as possible. If I'm making video games, I don't care what platforms I put the video games on. I just want to sell as many copies as possible. Let me know down below. And you know what else you can do? Besides, I need a sandwich now because I'm hungry and work let me off late. Guys, you and I can both get a sandwich And then we can play more games. Games are awesome. You deserve awesome. And I'll see you soon.